Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Wanderlust Wednesdays. I'm talking to you together with Leah, who's part of the team that has put together the Ancient Adriatic Treasures. And as always, we give you a little bit of starting information, and then we'll launch into a little video. And Paul, actually, if you have the video right now, we can start with that as we usually do. Go ahead.
Discover Adriatic and Aegean treasures on this intriguing journey that combines our Venice, the Adriatic and Greece, and ancient Mediterranean treasures itineraries. What better place to begin this historic voyage than in magical Venice? 2 days in this enchanting city give you just the time you need to see all the palazzi, cathedrals, and museums. In Split, Croatia, you can explore the cobblestone streets of the Old Town, or visit the palace of Roman Emperor Diocletian, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The walled city of Dubrovnik is one of Europe's jewels, a charming port with a beautifully preserved old town of ancient stone buildings and red tile rooftops. Montenegro's Kotor is a treasure of the Adriatic, with narrow streets leading to old palaces, the 12th century Cathedral of St. Tryphon, and the picturesque main square. A distinctive Venetian influence can be felt on the Greek Isle of Corfu, with its scenic old town, 15th century fortress, and tree-lined esplanade. From Katakolon, immerse yourself in the history of ancient Greece, at the site of the first Olympic Games at Mount Kronos, and the dramatic ruins of the ancient temples of Olympia. In beautiful Athens, enjoy an overnight stay so you'll have time to immerse yourself in the capital of ancient Greece itself, the birthplace of democracy and once the very center of the Greek Empire. Like many of the Greek isles, Crete is graced with the imprints of the ages. Enjoy its Venetian influences or delve into its Minoan civilization. On the Greek island of Rhodes, you'll pass through one of 11 imposing gates to discover the Old City, Europe's largest active medieval town and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In Turkey, fabled Ephesus offers a stunning window into the past, with remarkable architectural treasures, including the iconic Library of Celsus. While ancient Troy, once thought to exist only in mythology, boasts traces of as many as 9 different cities on the site. Your voyage concludes in fascinating Istanbul, where East meets West, and hidden treasures stand witness to the influences of countless ages and cultures.
And now for a short overview of the itinerary. The Ancient Adriatic Treasures, as Joost presented to begin with, will start in Venice and goes all the way to Istanbul at the end of 15 days. Along the way, we'll have calls to the ports of Split, Dubrovnik, Kotor, Corfu, Olympia, Katakolon, Athens, Heraklion, Rhodes, Ephesus, Troy, and Istanbul. We will touch the countries of Italy, Croatia, Montenegro, Greece, and Turkey. For the very first topic, we'll talk about the pre-extension packages. From the port of Venice, we are able to offer both short packages and longer packages, depending on how many days you would want to spend in the destination. You would be able to take part in a Venice city stay for 2 nights where we provide you with hotel accommodation, and then you're pretty much at your own leisure to explore more of Venice itself. We will also offer a package to Tuscany and a package to the lakes, both Como and Maggiore, across different conjugations of those destinations. You can see now how the itinerary flows across the map. So we'll start the itinerary by leaving from Venice. In the port of Venice, of course, now we will be using Chioggia as the gateway to explore Venice itself. And we'll still be offering a full complement of shore excursions that feature the city of Venice the township, and you will still be able to enjoy all of the programs that one would while in Venice. And just one of the many to highlight would be the Secrets of the Doge's Palace, where we'll transport you from Chioggia into Venice itself. It's a short ride, a very pleasurable ride, where you actually get a panoramic ride along the canals, and you enter into Venice then to explore the iconic sites of St. Mark's, and of course then going into the Doge's Palace itself with your guide to explore in depth what the history has to reveal to you. We will then go into Split. Split in Croatia, of course, is a town that was built around the Roman palace of the Emperor Diocletian. It's one of the oldest cities in Croatia, and we, from the town itself, can offer many attractive excursions. Amongst them, the Krka Falls and town of Skradin. The Krka Falls itself, they have a beautiful nature and scenery. In the screen, you can see the waterfalls, which is something you'll be able to see as you walk through the park itself with your guide. One of the things that I like the most about the park itself is a small museum that they have where they feature a lot of the production they do with the mills that are powered by the water that comes down the waterfalls. We will continue then to Dubrovnik, considered mostly a jewel of the Adriatic. And Dubrovnik, I think, needs no presentation, but the town itself is beautiful, very scenic. The old town itself is easily accessible from the ship. You'll be able to explore in your included tour in the old town itself. But if you want to do something that goes a bit further afield, then of course, in one of the many options you would have, and one of my favorite because it features local cuisine and you actually get to interact with locals, which I find the best way to actually get to know a destination. And as you can see on the screen, beautiful food. We'll be talking a little bit about the Dalmatian coast wine and food tasting. Here you will go into a private house where the owner does a presentation of how oil used to be milled when it was still pulled by donkey. And he actually has a donkey in his house, which turns the experience into something quite nice. His family then does a presentation of local food, shares the house and shares the table with you as they explain their life and their heritage. We'll then go into wine tasting, pardon me, and then into the town of Maliston, where you go into a small little cruise to have a tasting of oysters. From Dubrovnik, we'll continue into Kotor. Kotor is, of course, well known for its bay and beautiful scenery as you go into the town of Kotor itself. We could talk about many of the activities we do there, but walking tour of Kotor, which will also be your included tour, just features most of the highlights of the destination. The town is nestled at the footstep of the hill, and it's just beautiful, serene. Very nice to just walk around and enjoy the ambiance. From Kotor, we will follow then into Corfu or Kerkira. Kerkira will be our first Greek port into the itinerary. And amongst the many, we could talk about, for example, Corfu by mountain bike for the most adventurous. Don't be put off by it being a mountain bike. Of course, the paths in all of our activities, they are chosen by our operators to be able to cater to anyone that wants to actually go out and enjoy. This one goes into the countryside, and the path is not too strenuous. It is still a little bit of a longer bike ride, 9 mile long. 15 kilometer more or less. Of course, there will be stops in between for you to regain your breath and also to just enjoy the scenery around you, which is magnificent in the countryside. From Corfu, we will go then into Katakolon. Katakolon, of course, is the gateway to Olympia, and you will be able to visit the ancient site of Olympia during your day in Katakolon. From then Katakolon, we will follow into Athens. We will have a 2-day stay in Athens itself, so you will have plenty of time to explore. Our included tour, of course, takes you into the what is called the birthplace of democracy. But you will have the opportunity to explore as much as you want or as little as you want. One of the activities we would highlight would be Delphi and the Oracle. Delphi goes a little bit further afield, so it will be a full day tour. But if you want to go into the Plaka, you can. If you want to just explore the Parthenon, it's a very easy city to just do what you want more or less, without having to navigate too many issues. From Athens, we will then continue to Heraklion, also Greece. Heraklion, you will probably be brought back a little bit to the beginning of your cruise. Heraklion has a big Venetian heritage. And from Heraklion, we again continue on the theme of archaeology, the old sites that have been the birthplace of democracy in Greece. We were talking about Liberty Square, the archaeological museum of Heraklion itself. We could also mention the Palace of Knossos, which is also something you'll be able to explore from the port of Heraklion. From Heraklion, we will continue into Rhodes, and Rhodes brings back into, again, history, the Grand Masters, and that's something that you will be able to explore as well in the port of Rhodes. Apart from the Palace of the Grand Masters, we can talk briefly about the Acropolis of Lindos, which is also a full day optional excursion you can do from the port of Rhodes. And you will see more into the history of the Templars. From Rhodes, we continue then on to Ephesus. And Ephesus is reachable from the port of Kushadasi in Turkey. This will be our first entrance into the country of Turkey. From this port, we can go into the ancient site of Ephesus itself. This will also be your included excursion. You will have plenty of time to explore it with your guide. The site itself, it's magnificent. It's walking amongst history, and there's definitely a lot to see and explore in the site itself, but also in the port of Ephesus. From Ephesus, we continue on to Troy, which is reachable from the port of Çanakkale, again in Turkey. Our included tour itself will take you to the site of Troy, of course, as one would from this place. But as an optional excursion, and if you've been there before and you want to do something different than just visiting Troy, then of course you can also go to Assos, which is featured in one of our optional excursions. At this point, we now reach the end of our cruise with the city of Istanbul. And Istanbul will offer you the opportunity to explore the sites such as the Bosphorus Strait, the Grand Bazaar, and many others. The city itself is iconic for the minarets, for sites such as Hagia Sophia, and so on. And I believe, have a short video that we can share with you about the port of Istanbul.
Istanbul is the ultimate enigma. A bridge between Europe and Asia, it's drawn from both for centuries. A fascinating tapestry perfect for exploration. Istanbul is a city where West meets East, Europe meets Asia, and Christianity meets Islam. Hagia Sophia is a stunning example. It was first a Byzantine church and visited by the Vikings, then became a mosque, and now is a museum. The Sultan Ahmed Mosque, also known as the Blue Mosque, is an architectural masterpiece. Its intricate detailing will catch your eye, while the welcoming atmosphere delights your spirit. One thing you really won't want to miss is the hammam. A spa-like experience popularized by the Ottomans in the 15th century, it's one of my very favorite ways to unwind. Or you can head underground to the Basilica Cistern. Its columns are legendary, and one is completely unique. Known as the Column of Tears, it's said to bring good fortune. If you put your thumb into this hole and manage to complete a 360-degree spin of your hand, your wish is granted. An experience unlike anything else I've witnessed is the Sema ritual. This is the Sufi Mevlevi order, also known as the Whirling Dervishes. And what appears to be a dance is anything but. Every action and breath is intended to honor the Creator, as the participants rotate in a trance-like state. Of course, a stroll in the Grand Bazaar is also a must. And the souk will entice you with its colors and fragrances. When you're hungry, head for ortaköy for a real treat, a stuffed potato called kumpir. Throughout Istanbul, you'll find plenty of opportunities to tempt your taste buds. When you're out on the water, be sure to check out the stunning views. The wealth and diversity of the architecture lining these shores is astonishing. And there's more fascinating architecture at the original terminal for the Orient Express. Nights are fascinating too. Step out and dine like a local, sampling meze, the Turkish tapas, fazil music, and a glass of raki. Istanbul is an exotic city filled with many hidden wonders. I hope you get to experience it.
And as mentioned before going into the video, we've now reached Istanbul, of course, with massive sites such as the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, and we feature both in our optional excursions. From then you can, if wanting to explore a little bit more in depth, if wanting to learn a little bit more about the local culture, about what Turkey is known about, there's no better place than a visit to the Grand Bazaar. The Grand Bazaar, and I think Joost can share a little bit more insight into the Grand Bazaar with us, because I know he's thoroughly fascinated by the spice offer in the Grand Bazaar, as we all are. When one enters the Grand Bazaar, the first thing that kind of greets us is the smells and the colors of the Grand Bazaar. Joost?
Yeah, I can only say yes. No, it's absolutely spectacular. I would heartily recommend that you go inside, that you try out things, that you allow yourself to be convinced to buy some of these spices, especially things like tea. And you have to, a whole world of different teas will open as you go into some of these shops. And it's fine. I've been there and I've done this with my wife, and you spend a lot of money on spices that you may never touch, but you will have some of the experience itself is just splendid. It's absolutely something that you have to try and that you have to do.
And
Yeah.
you, of course, also need to taste some of the famous Turkish delights.
Yes.
Some of that not so healthy but completely worth it baklava. It's all it's all very good for the soul.
Yes.
If not for the body, at least for the soul, it's
Yeah.
very good. And now we've reached the end of your cruise. But if Istanbul is opened your appetite for Turkey, then of course you can extend your stay in the country with a 2-night extension in Istanbul itself. Where then you can just go off and do and explore more of what makes you happy. Or if you are still up for more exploration, more adventure, then we can then maybe tempt you with a 3-night in Cappadocia. Cappadocia is famous for the caves, the scenery, the hot air balloon rides. That is, of course, something that's iconic for Cappadocia. And with these extensions, then yes, we are at the end of what we can offer you for this particular cruise. But of course, we have many others that you could come and enjoy with us. And now I think we cut to the Q&A, and Joost and myself will be here to answer whatever questions you may have for us.
Wonderful. Thank you both. I'm Bree
Hi,
here
Bree.
in Los Angeles, here to ask some questions on behalf of the viewers. Yeah, we'd like to begin with a guest. Their name is Nona from Springfield. They say, thank you for this presentation, and ask, we are booked to sail this itinerary in March and are very excited. We wonder what weather we can expect. Are the Greek islands very windy and chilly?
A little. It's not that bad in March, but it can be a little nippy. But just bring a windbreaker, and bring something that will keep you dry. It's really not, yes, it's not as hot and as calm as it might be in summer, but I don't think you will not need storm wear.
I always say follow the onion approach. It's always better to layer and then to just take it off as the weather gets progressively warm throughout the day. But of course, a light rain jacket, windbreaker won't hurt in March.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Janelle in Phoenix, who asks, we've sailed the Western Mediterranean itinerary previously. How does the culture of this itinerary compare? Is it very different from what we've experienced?
Western Med include yes and no. I would say yes and no, because you're essentially sailing in the same area, but you visit different ports. And I think, and this is obviously I'm somewhat privileged because I live in Europe, and therefore, all of this is really just around the corner. But you can go to the exact same ports and have an entirely different experience based on what kind of shore excursions you choose. And I think that's the beauty of this. So with the Western Med, there is a decent overlap in ports, but there's enough difference. And what I really like about this is that you have a handful of ports that really don't see that much traffic. And Katakolon and even a place like Kushadasi. This is one of the few itineraries that have, for instance, that have all 3 Turkish ports that we visit. So there's an overlap, but I don't think that really matters all that much, honestly. Leah, do you see that differently?
No, I don't. I think a common thread that we have all throughout the Med is, of course, there are centuries of history to be learned. There are amazing archaeological sites, buildings, palaces to be discovered. And then, of course, there's fantastic food and people that are just so excited to share their culture with the visitors. So that will be something that you will find in every port, no matter the itinerary.
Thank you. We have some questions about the shore excursions offered on this itinerary. The first comes from Matthew in Utah, who asks, are the Krka Falls in Croatia difficult to access? Should we pack hiking boots and walking poles?
No, because it's all boardwalks. It's very even. There are a few steps, but there aren't any real climbs. So what you see in the picture is you kind of it's easy to kind of hold your camera in a way that maneuvers out of the view the boardwalks, but they're everywhere. You don't need to worry about that. The only thing I would say is, rather than hiking boots, wear solid shoes with good soles, because those boardwalks get wet and sometimes a little muddy. It just all depends on how much water is coming down a particular fall. But that's it. That's it.
Thank you very much. A related question from Layla in Austin, who shares, they'd love to try the Dubrovnik walking tour, but my husband and I are in our late 60s and might find it difficult. It looks quite hilly. Do you think this excursion is suitable for us?
Your age doesn't matter. It matters how good how good everything still works. No, I think Dubrovnik is fine. I would say the same thing. You need to wear good solid shoes with sturdy soles. I think the biggest hazard in Dubrovnik, aside from where there aren't very many hills in the city itself, the walls you can climb, but that you do with stairs. Or with stone steps. I would say that the biggest the biggest issue that you have in Dubrovnik is that the streets are of stone, and that stone is age old, and it's very well polished over the centuries. So high heels is a really bad idea. And anything that doesn't have a little bit of profile under the soles will also, at some stage, sooner or later, possibly land you on your backside. So just wear good shoes. That's it. That's it. It's not difficult to walk around in.
Excellent. Thank you. Jorge in California says, hello, Joost and Leah, asks, will there be a guide to take us around the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul? I know I will want to buy lots there, but the language barrier might be an issue for us.
Language barrier is really not an issue. You will find that people in Turkey that are trying to sell you something will speak whatever language you would like them to speak. Yeah, but the answer is yes. We take you into the Spice Bazaar on the included excursion and kind of help you on your way. And so that gives you, I think that gives you a little bit of exercise in how this works, and then you just go along with it. You can just go. I mean, the trepidation is always when you go into a bazaar like this that you will end up with things you don't really need, and that you're going to be paying more than what a Turkish resident of Istanbul would pay. Both of these things are true, but guess what? You're still not going to lose a fortune in the bazaar. You can always walk away, and it is great fun. It is great fun, and you never have to feel bad for walking away, because that is, as far as the merchants are concerned, that's just something that happens. Okay, so you don't make a sale. I think the discomfort that you sometimes see is really just a bit of a clash of cultures. But the Turks themselves, this is just how they do things, and they enjoy it, and they don't know any better. So you buy something or you don't buy something, and no one's going to think any less of you. It is great fun.
Very good. We actually have a related question from Rory in Illinois, who asks, is haggling in the Grand Bazaar customary? Will there be any instructions on this while on the tour there?
Yes, and again on this, yes, you will get a little bit of a crash course in haggling. Rest assured that, look, you will have some sense of what it is that you want to pay for any article, and that's about as far as you will want to go. Try not to put it out of your mind that you will somehow be able to out haggle the merchant. They're professionals. they've been doing this all their lives. And so there's no shame in paying twice as much as what a Turkish person would pay. You will still need to decide, okay, is this what I want, or is it something that I can live without? And because there are quite a few questions about this. What I have done in the past, and this is something that the ship can help you with. If this is really what you want, and this would be super cool, ask if you can get a private guide that does this, that takes you through the bazaar, and that helps you do this. That is great fun. I've done this, and it's those are some of the best hours I spent. Sorry, those are some of the best hours I spent in Istanbul.
Wonderful, thank you. A question from Ella in Hudson, who asks, would you recommend starting the sailing in Istanbul or Venice? We are thinking of booking for either July or October.
Yeah, view on that, Leah?
Purely very organizational. If it were myself, I would probably end it in Venice, just for the mere fact that it's so much easier to fly international from Italy. But also, I think Italy would have more for you to explore after your cruise, depending on what you would want or not. But from what the cruise itself has to offer, it makes absolutely no difference. You will have the same time in ports in both directions. And it's really just a matter of convenience and logistics. I think it's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. A question from Edison in Orlando. They say hello to both of you and ask, can you tell us more about the flight seeing tour in Istanbul? Is that something anyone can do, even at my old age?
Depending on not so much your age, but your size, getting in and out of a helicopter can be quite a challenge. And even in the fixed wing planes, that's just something that you would need to consider. Do you know off the top of your head, Leah, what kind of aircrafts we use there? Because that's the only thing I can think about. You have to be kind of nimble to make it in.
It varies on the number of guests we would have signed up for the activity. So it's not always the same set aircraft. That being said, the restrictions are usually in terms of weight, as with any passenger aircraft. Of course, then the number of guests that will go and the weight determine load and so on. But I don't think anyone is too old to go on a flight seeing. If you feel up to it, you go and do it.
Yep, I agree.
Wonderful, thank you. Jeffrey in Greenville asks, since we are visiting many different countries on this itinerary, Italy, Montenegro, Greece, Turkey, Croatia, in your opinion, what are the best foods to try?
Go ahead, Leah.
Oh my God, food. It's yes. So this is a cruise that has the potential to do a little bit of damage into your waist. But it's all for the good of learning and discovering new cultures. Venice, of course, once you hit Venice, is all about the fish. They have this beautiful dish called fritto misto, which just means it's a wide variety of fish that's deep fried. What's there not to like about that? Nothing. And of course, then not typical, not original from Venice, but they do like to showcase their cannoli, and that's also something, of course, worth trying. Once you get to Croatia, it's all about food again. Local wine is amazing, olive oil as well, and they have a wide production of olive oil. Seafood, very good as well. And they're also very proud of their production of prosciutto. You'd be surprised. Greece, lamb, fresh salads, fresh fish, grilled, turkey. It's non-ending. I don't think you can really pick. You're going to have to try a little bit in every port, and then you make up your mind and you come back to try then the destination you really like the most.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
A question from Faye in Boston, who shares, they're unable to leave our dogs for 15 days straight. Do you have any shorter itineraries that visit these cities?
Yes. The secret is that this itinerary is actually 2 itineraries. You go for a week, you go back to your dogs. Next year, you book the other week, and you go back to your dogs.
Lovely, straightforward.
Yes, yes, I get it. I have 2 dogs. You know, they travel with us, but you know, every once in a while, yeah, they can't go everywhere, and it makes dogs very unhappy.
So this specific itinerary, this specific itinerary, as you mentioned, can be broken up in 2. You can either do Istanbul to Athens as one itinerary, or you can also do Athens then to Venice as another itinerary. So yes, exactly that. You do one first, go home, and then you come back to the other. You go home again.
Very good. Kaylin in Jefferson City asks regarding the extension, what hotel does Viking typically use in Venice?
We use the Stücki Molino quite a bit. That is a hotel that sits on the Grand Canal. It's more or less on the edge of the old city. It's a short little vaporetto ride into town, and that's we use that hotel because it kind of has all the modern conveniences. It's not super centrally located, but it's minutes away from everything, and it just has a little bit more space. A lot of the hotels in Venice themselves are small, you know, inside the old city, so you're on the edge. That's the hotel we mainly use.
Great, thank you. A guest named Wolfgang in the United States asks, how do you fit in all the excursions? Typically, are the city stays at the end of the cruise or at the beginning? So a little bit of a question there about extensions.
You can take your pick. If you go from Istanbul to Venice, your Italian possibilities are at the end of the cruise, and your extra nights in Istanbul or Cappadocia is at the beginning. It just depends on which direction you pick.
Very good, thank you. We had a question on Facebook from Yvette asking about current promotions, and the Facebook admins directed them to the website. Any other thoughts on that, Joost?
No, we have the next one of this itinerary is in March, and it runs all the way to October. So you can take your pick, really. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I think you always need to kind of keep in mind, you know, because we do, obviously, this is a frequently heard question. You need to keep in mind that if you want to wait long, your best, and I know that this sounds strange, or I don't know if it sounds strange or not, but it's really straightforward. The earlier you book, the better your pricing is. Let me put it this way: the better the price is with a full range of options. You can book whatever you want at the best possible price. You can wait and book something very last minute, and then you'll find that, yes, you probably can get a better deal, but you might not get exactly what it is that you want. So decide what's important to you. If let's say stateroom size is not that important, or timing of the year is not that important, or air availability is not that important, then you could wait. But if all of these things matter, if you're a planner, I would book early. The earlier, the better. That's just how it works.
Very good, thank you. A question from Kathy in Chicago. We are going on the Istanbul to Athens cruise, leaving on May 9th and returning May 21st. What weather can we expect at that time?
Nice. That's it. Nice. That's a good month. Well done.
Very good. We have a question from Devante in the United States who asks, related question, when will the 2025 Grand Pacific Explorer cruises be available for booking? Thank you.
September or so of this year, I think. We publish about a year, no, 2.5 years in advance. So it's a little early for that.
Very good. A question from John in Austin, Texas. He asks, what are the best cruises for seeing the Adriatic Sea in addition to this itinerary?
This is it. This is it. From Venice all the way to the Greek Isles, you're in the Adriatic Sea. This is perfect. It's pretty perfect. It's as good as it gets. And I do think, our friends in Italy might disagree, but I do think that the Croatian side of the Adriatic Sea is nicer than the Italian side. The Croatian side has all these beautiful little islands. Just getting in and out of ports is gorgeous in those areas. So you are getting what you want on this itinerary. You really are.
Thank you. Thank you. A couple of final questions. We have Genevieve from Utah who asks, we're interested in the Lake Como extension. Are there tours built in, or should we arrange private tours to see the island and lake?
Nope. It's all built in. It's all built in. You're going to Bellagio, a little boat. You're doing all the things that
fully packed.
Yes. Well, you do have a little bit of time, but yeah, this is one of the extensions that is kind of, it's rigorous. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. A final question from Allison in Ocean Grove. She thanks you, Joost and Leah, for your presentation and shares she loves your sweaters.
No.
And asks, can those sweaters be purchased on the Viking website?
No, but these are made by a company in Norway called Dale. That's D-A-L-E, so Dale of Norway, if you will. And you can get them there, or on a Viking ship, even better. The one I'm wearing is if you will, I normally wear one that's navy blue, and this one is kind of a test model, if you will. We're experimenting a little bit with different colors. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And that is all of our questions regarding this itinerary. Appreciate your presentations today.
All right. Well, then, thank you for watching. Sorry that I had to conk out the technical issues. I'm sure that Leah did a magnificent job, and we'll see you perhaps next week or another week from here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.